Guys, after 10 years in the making, Barbell's new athletic fit jeans are finally here. The fabric is new, the features are innovative, and with feedback from hundreds of elite athletes and thousands of customers, these jeans are better than ever. Friday, April 7th is the launch date, and they will sell out. So text the word Barbell to number 48281. That's going to put you on the wait list so you can be sure that you will get a pair before they're gone. Robert Whittaker came out. He was talking about Chimaev. And Whittaker's in a very interesting situation. Am I hard on Whittaker? Do you guys think that? Does it feel that way? Because I'll tell you what, it's because I care. Believe it or not, it's because I care. I watch Robert Whittaker and I just think he's awesome. He kept doing the toughest tournament in all sports, known as the Ultimate Fighter. He was a 170-pounder. He had to change, he had to grow into, and goes on, becomes the world champion at 185. He is a perennial #1 contender. So when I give him a hard time, I really don't mean to. I stalk him, though. I follow him. I follow his career closely because I'm interested in him. And there is some stuff that Robert Whittaker does that I don't know what it meant. And we speak the same language. There's not a huge understanding barrier. Let me give you an example. Whittaker came out, he was talking about Chimaev. Okay, now the rumor of Chimaev versus Whittaker, that has been floating around for a while. Of all the things that you could do with Chimaev and or Whittaker, putting them together, that's the #1 that you should not do. You should not do, because you're gonna have the geeks in the business like me that remember the press conference where they both got asked about each other and they both got all friendly and said they wanted to go train. It's the opposite of promoting a fight. It was demoted right there. But the talk still exists. Dana White said, if I'm going to quote him, that Chimaev's going 185 pounds, he's going to take on a top 3 guy next. None of us think that he's walking in to a title fight there, though he could. None of us think that he is. And if we're to take Dana literally, that would leave Whittaker. I don't think we should take Dana literally. I think that's an expression of top 3 guy, right? Number 7's a top 3 guy. Number 5's a top 3 guy. I mean, it just is. It means a big name, big and meaningful character within that division. So, but that's not the words. The words were top 3. So Robert Whittaker gets asked about it. I think that it's pretty clear. I think that Chimaev and Paulo are going to get matched up. That's what I think. But Sean Strickland would definitely have to be considered in that equation. To my understanding, Strickland, when it's a very limited amount of buddies in this sport, trains with Chimaev, or at least did. And we understand those things, right? We like to say that we don't. We like to say that Merab should fight Aljo, but we don't want to see 2 buddies fighting. We just don't. We really don't. As much as the drama, we want that attitude there of anyone, anywhere, anytime, to actually go out and do it, it's a different feel. So I think that we would understand. Paulo Costa's pretty good at coming out, putting a finger right in your chest and coming at you, but he hasn't really done that with Chimaev. Not fully. Chimaev's pretty good at shaking those trees, getting that reaction, getting everybody worked up, but he hasn't really done that towards Paulo. Not really. So it just creates for an interesting situation of what are they going to do? My biggest problem with the 85-pounders, the division that I love, my biggest problem is the commonality. None of them want to fight. Tell me the last time you heard Pereira call somebody out. We can give him a pass. He knew who he was going to fight. Adesanya. Okay, great. But then tell me for Adesanya. Adesanya must have called out Pereira. Tell me the last time you heard Izzy call anybody out. Now, these guys are linked together. They go into a different category. I think we understand that, but my point still holds up. When's the last time you heard Robert Whittaker call anybody out? When's the last time you heard Paulo Costa call anybody out? When's the last time you heard Chimaev call somebody out? I'll answer that question for you. When he wasn't a 185-pounder. Chimaev was calling people out every single week at a maximum. 2 and 3 at a time sometimes. Sometimes walk right up to him and tell him. There's something about that middleweight class. I don't know what it is. You go become an 85-pounder, all of a sudden, you don't want to fight anybody? We'll give you some inside scoop. Sean Strickland can't get a fight. Sean Strickland can't get a fight to the point that he's thinking about going up to 205 pounds. I don't know how likely that is. I don't even know the possibility of that. I'm just sharing for you. It's not an expression when I tell you how difficult. Jared Cannonier matters within that division. When's the last time Jared Cannonier called anybody out? In all fairness, right? 185? That's murderer's row. You got iron on top of iron. But they don't want to fight each other. They can't work this thing out. I mean, Robert Whittaker did an interview, guys, and he said who he wasn't going to fight. He came out and said he wasn't offered Chimaev. What is that? You do an interview, you talk about who you are offered, who you are going to fight, who you would like to be offered so that you can fight. You don't talk about guys that you don't. Everything was in reverseville, and then he got real technical. Robert Whittaker said, I've never been offered Chimaev, comma, not in writing anyway, period. They never sent documents over that said, hey, are you willing to fight Chimaev? Sign here. Okay. But I just don't know what that meant. Like to you guys, you'd read that and you move right on. But somebody that was in the business, somebody that's in the industry, go, yeah, they never do. Whoever your next fight is, that's never going to happen. That will happen way down the road after the fight's already made. You'll know about it. He'll know about it. All agreements will be done. The media will know. It'll be released. Ariel will be tweeting about it. And then eventually the contract comes. I mean, just so you know. So that was a weird thing when he talked about it with the contract and it wasn't in writing. And it just seemed like a real miss to me. I mean, in many ways, I feel as though Robert Whittaker is perfectly aligned. He's perfectly sitting here and waiting for Piera and Izzy to be done so that he can step in. But he's so quiet and he's not even calling out Izzy or Piera. He's not saying I'm the number one contender. He's not saying I'm the guy that's going to back up the guy. My suspicion is that Robert Whittaker will get on the scale on Friday. My suspicion is that Robert Whittaker is the backup fighter for this match. And that's why he's not calling people out, but why he is staying in the middle. But that's just a suspicion. We don't even do backup fighters all the time. And I wish we did, by the way. I love that position. I love that role. I love to play this game where we sit and guess who it should be. And then some Fridays between 9 and 11, they roll out, and it was nobody. And I get confused. Why did we have one here and not over here? And I think there's probably been an answer to that, but the media has never demanded to know that answer. I think I'm alone on it. I think the media disagrees with me, and they don't see that as interesting. They don't see that as story-worthy, as headline-grabbing. I think that's why. I think I'm the Lone Ranger here thinking that that's a coveted spot. But it would make a level of sense as to why we keep hearing from Robert Whittaker. And at the same time, we haven't heard much from Robert Whittaker that we can count on, that we could base anything on. You got the number 3 guy in the world. You got athletes all around him that he's never competed with. We all know he's a true number 1 contender, particularly if you have some parity and you have Alex still on top. We all understand these things, but he's not calling for the shot. He's not saying, I'm next, I'm ready, I'm in line. I've never seen anything quite like 185 pounds is right now. You got a bunch of studs, absolute hammers, and they do not want to fight each other.